It was a bird or something. It was the 15th of November, 1966, and Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallette were joyriding through a maze of dirt roads that connected abandoned World War II bunkers, late at night in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. They had just driven past an abandoned generator plant when they saw something. A huge figure in the darkness just off the side of the road. And it was watching them, with huge, blood-red eyes. Hello, I'm Nemo, and welcome to episode 10 already of Certainly Strange. This one, this is a popular one. I bet some of you have already heard the words Point Pleasant and immediately know what I was going to talk about. This one is another urban legend. We've spoken about an urban legend before in episode 6 with Spring Hill Jack, and or I believe it was 5. I'm not certain. And I really like doing urban legends. They're really one of the favorite type of stories about monsters and strange phenomena. So yeah, if you want me to cover more urban legends, do let me know for season 2 and which one you would like to hear. You can always send me suggestions, by the way, for episodes, not just urban legends. Just contact me via my website or my Instagram page as well. Alright, let's get on with the story. I'm a hard man to scare, Scarberry later said to the local newspaper. But last night I was getting out of there. He slammed the gas and tried to maneuver his car out of the dump area as quickly as possible, away from the strange creature that watched them. And as they fled, they all saw the creature, something that looked like a hybrid between a man and a bird, standing on the hill by the side of the road. And then it started following them. We were driving 100 miles per hour, and that bird kept right up with us. It wasn't even flapping its wings. The women started crying. The creature followed them until the couples reached the National Guard Armory on Route 62. They thought they had finally lost the strange man-bird, but once they turned the car around, there it was again. It seemed to be waiting on them. The creature was over 6 foot tall, grey, with a wingspan of 10 feet. It was like a man with wings, Millett said. It wasn't like anything you'd seen on TV or in monster movies. The Scarberrys and the Millettes gave a statement to the police. If I had seen it while by myself, I wouldn't have said anything, Scarberry commented. But there were 4 of us who saw it. Scarberry was right. Their statement about what they saw that night was not taken seriously. The 4 witnesses became the laughingstock of the town, but soon stories started to surface, old and new. They were definitely not the only ones who had witnessed the creature that is now known as the Mothman. On that very same day, on November the 15th, 1966, the Mothman had been spotted by a farmer about 19 miles away in Salem. Neil Partridge was watching television when at 10:30 p.m. he heard his German shepherd named Bandit howling. The farmer went out to check on his dog with a flashlight when he was met with 2 large red eyes, like red reflectors, staring back at him. Bandit took off barking towards the creature that threatened his master, vanishing into the night. Then the farmer could hear his dog screech and whine, and he never saw Bandit again. The strange thing, in their eyewitness report, the Scarberrys and the Millettes told the police that, while they were being chased by the Mothman, they had seen something lying on the side of the road. It had been a carcass, the carcass of a dead dog. The very next day, the Mothman was spotted by one Mr. and Mrs. Wemsley and their friend, Mrs. Bennett, who were driving through the World War II bunker area on their way to visit a friend. They parked the car in a darkened area several feet from the residence and knocked on their friend's door. When they found him not at home, they headed back to the car. This is where they saw it. In the darkness, a shadowy figure lurked behind the car. It rose up slowly from the ground. A big, grey thing, bigger than a man, with terrible, glowing red eyes. According to her own statement, when Bennett saw the creature, she was so horrified, she fell on her baby, whom she had been holding in her arms. There were dozens of Mothman sightings during the next several weeks. One witness, Mrs. Roy Gross, saw the creature through her kitchen window early in the morning when her barking dog had awakened her. She saw a large, multicolored object hovering over the treetop in a field across the road. That same day, a local teenager encountered a huge bird-like creature with his car and claimed that it had followed him for more than a mile. Tom Urey, a young shoe salesman, was driving down Route 62 at 7:15 in the morning on his way to work when he spotted a towering figure standing by the road in a field. Suddenly, it had spread its wings and took off straight up. The figure then started circling his car like a bird and kept flying over the car even at the speed of 75 miles per hour. Tom was apparently so frightened by this encounter, he did not get into work that day. In total, there were around 200 sightings of the Mothman in the year 1966 to 1967. But it was not the first time something like a birdman was spotted near Point Pleasant. In 1961, 5 years prior, a woman was driving down Route 2 along the Ohio River with her father when she spotted a winged figure. She had just passed by a park when a tall figure suddenly appeared in the road ahead of her. It was a grey figure with folded wings across its back, like how one would describe an angel. Startled by the car, the creature unfolded its wings, which practically filled the whole road. And then the mysterious creature took off, straight up into the air. However, the man and her father were not the first to ever witness the creature that would later become known as the Mothman. In 1948, the army officials at McCord Field in Washington state were approached by the 61-year-old Mrs. Bernice Ikowski, who claimed that she had seen a man-bird in her backyard.
I know most people don't believe me, but I have talked to some people in Chehalis that tell me that they saw the man too. It was about 3 p.m. on January 6th, and there were a lot of small children coming home from school at the time. They saw the man too, and asked if they could go into my backyard so they could watch him longer as he flew towards the south end of the city.
According to her, the flying man-bird seemed to be a man equipped with long silver wings, fastened over his shoulders with a strap, like one of the inventors of Leonardo da Vinci. These birdmen are not sighted exclusively in the United States, however. Sightings have also been reported in countries such as Portugal, England and Vietnam. The phenomenon of human-bird hybrid creatures already exists for thousands of years. In Greek mythology there are the Harpies, who are vicious, cruel and violent human vultures, the personification of storm winds. They drive those who have killed their own family insane and carry their bodies to the underworld. In his book The Divine Comedy, Dante describes the Harpies as broad-winged creatures with razor-sharp talons and a human neck and face, with clawed feet and swollen feathered bellies. Another human-bird hybrid in Greek mythology are the Sirens. These are birds with large heads and scaly feet who lure sailors to shipwreck on the rocky coast of the island with their enchanting voice. By the Middle Ages, the figure of the siren transformed in that of the mermaid. In Slavic mythology, there are the Alkonost, who are much like the sirens. They are birds with the head of a woman who sings so beautifully that those who hear it forget anything except for the song. In Buddhist traditions, there are the Kinara. The Kinaras, who are male, and the Kinaris, who are female, are two of the most beloved characters in Buddhist mythology. They come from the Himalayas and watch over the well-being of humans in times of trouble and danger. But for the people of Point Pleasant, the Mothman did not mean well-being. No, it meant misfortune. The many sightings of the Mothman came to an end on the 25th of December in 1967, when the Silver Bridge connecting Point Pleasant with Gallipolis collapsed. 46 people died, and it is still known as the deadliest bridge collapse in the history of the United States. Next to the Mothman sightings, the Silver Bridge collapse was the second terrible and bizarre thing to put Point Pleasant on the map in 1 year's time. So it was not hard for people to seek a connection between the two. Some eyewitnesses claimed that they had seen the Mothman at the bridge the day it had collapsed, blaming the creature for the disaster that killed so many. Of course, it is a way of mourning to seek an explanation, someone or something to blame for this terrible loss of life. People did indeed think that the Mothman was a bad omen, a demonic vision that had foreshadowed this great disaster. A more realistic explanation for the Mothman comes from Dr. Robert L. Smith, an associate professor of wildlife biology at West Virginia University, who said that the description of the Mothman all fitted the sandhill crane, the second largest American crane, which stands almost as high as a man and has a wingspan of more than 7 feet. He said that the red eyes could be the large red circles around the crane's eyes. The appearance of the bird could have been molded into the image of a monstrous creature through mass hysteria. So, is the Mothman an image of the mind, the demonic embodiment of fear? Is it simply a bird mistaken for a monster through mass hysteria? Or is the Mothman real? Whatever he was, or whatever he still may be now, he is certainly strange. So that is the legend of the Mothman of Point Pleasant. What stuck with me most during my research is how popular hybrids between humans and birds are in stories and mythologies. I mean, you have the harpies, the sirens, you have the alcanos, but you also have like angels. And I'm just wondering why that is. Is it because people have a certain dream that one day we also grow wings and will be able to fly, or something else? But yes, the main question remains: is the Mothman real? I actually don't really care whether he's real or not. I just really like the story. That's the conclusion I came to researching this. Because some people say that Point Pleasant invented the Mothman and the entire mythology around it, just to get people who went to Salem to come to their town for like tourism. Because people went to Salem for the witch trials, and they were like, we have to do something, to invent something for us to profit off of these tourists as well. And to be honest, if they did, I can respect that. I don't even want to hear it, whether they did it or not. I can respect that. That's a very good marketing strategy. But I do love to hear about your opinions. And you can always contact me on my website or on my social media. And once again, thank you for listening to this episode of Certainly Strange, a podcast about the unexplainable. Everything about the podcast and my other projects can be found on my website, Dr. Nemo's cabinetofcuriosities.com. There you can also find the transcript of this episode and the sources that I used in my research. And once again, thanks for listening.